Kate Davey, welcome to the show.
Hi.
How are you?
Yeah, I'm very well, thank you. Yeah, been a bit of a crazy couple of weeks, but yeah, really, really good, thank you.
All right, cool. So I should say that we're talking, what are we, 5 days after HYROX Barcelona, where you made your pro race debut, right? And you finished third.
Yeah,
What time did you get?
106.23.
Okay, awesome, awesome. And for a short time, you made it into the elite rankings as well, didn't you? And
I think probably like the shortest ever time anyone's been in the elite ranking.
then...
I crossed the line and I was laid out on the floor, probably being a bit dramatic. And one of the guys who obviously was doing all the timing came over and he was like, "You're in elite 15, you're in elite 15." I was like, "Yay!" And then about, I think, 2 or 3 hours later, when Dallas raced, it was like, "Yeah, you're out of elite 15."
It was nice while it
um,
lasted.
but it's nice. You still like they still rank obviously below that. So I think I'm now maybe 17th. And to be honest, Barcelona was our main goal was London, was going to be my first pro, and I've probably been a little bit of a nightmare for Paul. Just texting him a lot, going, oh, stressing about it. And we were going to actually do a full sim this weekend coming in my gym. But obviously, you don't have the rock zone, you don't have the pressure, you don't have the competitors, other people on the track. It's different when you're racing. You don't have the nerves. And then we were chatting, and the opportunity of Barcelona came up. And I think it was only two weeks, maybe 10 days before. There were still some places going. And obviously, we thought, do you know what? Why don't we just go and give it a shot? The goal was just to try, to test out, to see how I was going. Sub 110 was the goal. Doesn't really matter where you placed. And yeah, it was really good. So
Nice.
yeah, the running, like, couldn't have been happier with my running. Sleds, we'll just ignore that. And yeah, there's a lot of things that I can work on, but I see that as a really big positive, because instead of, oh, you took so long on this, you can look at it as, look how much time I could save. So huge areas I can work on, definitely.
How many HYROXes had you done before that race?
I did one open in November, was it London? I
Yeah.
think it was November. So that was my first solo, and I did a pairs maybe this time last year, went the London one before that.
Oh,
So I did
April.
a
Yeah.
pairs one with my friend, because she messaged me and said, "This is right up your street. Like, have you not heard of it?" So we did a pairs one, and then we were meant to do a pairs in London, and then she, about 3 weeks before, she said, "I want you to go solo." She said, I think you'll be better, like, on the running. She said, "I can't keep up with you anymore." And I was like, "No, no, no, you've got to do it with me. You've got to do it with me." And she kind of just pushed me and said, "No, you're going solo." So then I did one open one and then the pro one. So I'm very, very new to it, really.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. How did you, I mean, obviously it went all right. How did you find the step up to pro? Was it significant, did you feel, or?
Um, I'm not gonna lie, those sleds were, I went to I went to push it and it didn't move. um, and I think Paul and my other half were watching, and they just kind of were like, "Oh no." And I thought, okay, just keep your head, change your technique, go again. Just don't worry about what anyone else is doing. Just push at your own pace. Obviously, I managed to complete it, but yeah, definitely that carpet that I don't know where they buy it from, but wow, yeah, it was really, really tough. And a lot of the girls afterwards said it was actually quite a tough carpet, and they found the sleds like one of the hardest they'd found. So that was quite nice, because if they came off and went, "Oh, that was easy," I would have been thinking, "Oh no, like, what's a hard sled?" But I mean, it's just something I need to work on. So yeah, a lot of sled pushing and pulling.
Yeah, it's certainly, like, from the data from the times, it looks like they were slow sleds in Barcelona, and I mean, obviously Paul was there as well. He reckons it's the worst one that he's had, and he does a race every week, it feels like. So
He is very keen.
Yes, yes, yeah. So yeah, hopefully time in the bag for you in the future if you get a better one, right?
Yeah. So but that, you know, everything else was okay. And I think because the running is probably my strength, that helps to pick up some time when, you know, things don't go well on a sled. You know, you're only on the sled once, well, twice. You're running 8 times. So I have 8 opportunities to chip away. So to me, that's a positive.
Yeah, yeah. What is your background running? What is your sporting background?
So I used to do like triathlon. I did like an Ironman. Then I kind of went a bit sort of into CrossFit a little bit and turf games and that sort of stuff for a while. But I don't really get on with I don't mind a lot of the gymnastic stuff, and I don't mind the weightlifting, but things like a barbell snatch and things, I just had a few shoulder injury, like niggles, plays up with my elbow, just bits like that. Just didn't really agree with me. And then I kind of fell into this really.
How did you discover it?
So probably I can't remember before I started. Before I did Ironman, like I would never have run that far or that fast. So it just shows that if you get your head down, you can do it.
Yeah. How did you discover HYROX?
Just through my friend who said, like, do you want to do this as a pair? I think I might have seen it kind of cropping up on like just like adverts and stuff, but I hadn't really kind of taken much notice. I hadn't really sort of looked at it, and then it was because my friend Kat said, you need to do this. So I was like, oh, okay. But yeah, and I've got quite a few friends now who are doing their first one in like pairs and stuff. So it's really cool watching them sort of go into it too.
Nice. So have you got a golf background as well? Or?
So I'm PT, but I do specialize in golfers. So where I work here is a place called Precision Golf, and it's like it's almost like a hospital for golfers. So they do all the club fitting, but sort of the degree that they fit to is phenomenal. The technology they've got is crazy. They build everything on site here. There's 2 coaches upstairs that will fix your swing when you need help. There's a biomechanics guy and a chiropractor who fix them when they're injured, and then I train them. But I do train non-golfers as well. It's just probably maybe 80% is golf, and then obviously I've kind of then sort of dabbled a little bit in golf. So I've just been learning, but it's very hard because it's a sport where you need to spend a lot of time. You know, you can't just go for a quick round of golf. So it's been put on the back burner a little bit at the moment because I can't do the hours I'm doing for training, rehab, work. I've got 2 children and then practice golf. So I haven't really done as much of it as I would have liked to recently, but and also I'm, I think, a bit fair weather. So in the wind, my friend goes, are we gonna go and play golf? And I sort of said to Radhika, I was like, yeah, maybe in April. So yeah, I'm not up for getting, just like the rain and the cold, just walking around for 4 hours. So
that's why you found HYROX, right? It's inside.
It's indoors. So yeah, but I like the golf. I think that I wish I'd got into it maybe a bit more when I was younger, but I've only got so long that I can kind of do HYROX, and well, at a certain level probably golf will always be there. So I will get into golf a bit more, but yeah, as long as I can get around and not hold too many people up, or it's just like a nice recreational sport really.
All right, cool. So how are you recovering after Barcelona? You feeling good?
Yeah, really good. So we flew back Saturday night. Sunday at 7 a.m. my physio was on the phone saying, have you been in an ice bath yet? I was like, yeah, I'm just getting fit now. And then I had Sunday off, and we've had sort of a bit of a deload week this week, but still training. but yeah, like yesterday I was really ready to go. What Paul had kind of scheduled, I changed a bit, and then I changed it a bit more, and then changed it a bit more. And you know, I felt good. We went back up to 2 sessions today, and then next week we go sort of increase until London.
So when you say I changed it a bit more, that I think means that you made it harder for yourself than Paul was prescribing, right?
Yeah, I think it started as I was meant to be on the bike doing an easy cycle for 45 minutes. Then I sort of said, oh, I really wanted to run. So he's like, fine, okay. So we changed it, and it was meant to be a run at a certain pace. So then I texted him in the morning and I said, I think I might run at this pace. He was like, oh. And anyway, I texted him afterwards of what I'd done. He was like, that's not even the pace we agreed. But he said he let me off because I had such a good weekend. And he said, oh, you obviously feel ready for it. So we work well together, which is really good. I've known him 15 years maybe. So yeah, it's nice having that as well. So sort of someone knowing me a little bit as well. Mm-hmm. They rein me back in when I need to be reined in, which is quite a lot of the time.
He tries at least.
I've been quite good actually. I've definitely, obviously I've changed my recovery. I've changed how much time I put into that. So it's probably 90 minutes minimum a day. Stretching, ice baths, you know, massage guns. I see my physio every 2 to 3 weeks just for maintenance now, which I would have never have done before. And it just makes a huge difference. I think off the back of 2 not great injuries last year, it's just made me realise that I need to be really careful with it.
Can I ask what those injuries were? I saw you mentioned it on your Instagram feed. You were in crutches at one point, right?
Yeah, so it was probably about this time last year, maybe. I think it was April time, end of April. Just really silly mistake on my part. I was with a client, and I went to we were just doing some stuff, and I just completely forgot I wasn't warmed up. Went to demonstrate something, and just, you know, a long day, forgot I wasn't warmed up, and there was this noise, and it sort of sounded like a bit of a ping, and I thought that he kicked me. I thought my client had kicked me. So I turned around, and then he said, oh, did you just hear that? And I said, yeah. And then I went to walk, and my leg just went from underneath me. Wow. And then I quickly realized he didn't kick me. And I did a full rupture of one of the tendons in the back of my calf. Luckily, one that apparently I don't necessarily need. I think they would use it if they needed to replace something somewhere else. So I fully ruptured that, and then I did a grade 2 tear in both of the other muscles. So I had a very, very swollen and black leg for quite a while. So obviously couldn't run, was on crutches for a bit. And, you know, you're in that point where you think, am I ever going to be able to run how I ran again? And I'm actually running faster now than I was last year. So maybe the tendon was holding me back. I don't know. And then I sprained my lower spine in November, just doing the one thing that I know that never really agrees with me. I was helping out a team in some SID qualifications. I just overextended my back in a lift. So then I had to wait for that to kind of get better. And that's about it, really. They're probably the 2 worst injuries I've had, but they were in the space of a year. And now I'm back into strength training, so we can build on that. The back feels really strong. I don't have any issues in the leg at all. Don't feel it at all. So yeah, it looks really positive now. But it has just made me realise that it can go just like that.
Yeah, it's good. It's interesting, like how quickly you recovered and like how well you're performing now. And I know like David McGeeder, who's like the North American champion, like throughout last off season he couldn't run at all, and now he's come back and he's won the North American championships. And it's quite interesting, like when you're injured, it just feels like, to me anyway, it just feels like the worst thing in the world. Like you just feel like you're losing all your all your fitness, all your gains, don't it? But it's interesting when people can come back and do relatively well, relatively quickly as well, I think.
Yeah. I think you definitely get to a place where you think, you know, I wasn't walking, and just even running felt so far away. And I remember the first time, I think it was probably more nerves than anything, and you're just really anxious. So the first time I tried to jump on it, or so I'd obviously done all my rehab, I'd been doing all of that. The first time I tried to run on it, I was literally holding, because we decided to test me just on a treadmill, and I was holding on like this, and it's almost your head telling you almost not to do it, even though your leg is ready. So I think the psychological side you have to get over quite a lot, and sort of nervous to jump on it because you don't know whether to trust it or if it's going to go again. I think once you get past that bit, it's okay. And I mean, I don't think about it now at all.
Yeah, sure. Right. I know you've sort of touched on your recovery routine and your ice baths. What can you be like more specific? What does that look like? You're getting in an ice bath for what 5 minutes, is it?
So I'll go anything up to I go like 11 to 15 minutes. Right. Probably up to about there normally. So my son is really cute. He makes big icebergs. So he gets like lots of tubs and he puts them in the freezer to make icebergs for me, for the bath as well. So my freezer's just full of tubs of ice. He loves it. And then I get in the ice bath. I do 11 to 15 minutes cold, and then I go into heat. So we run the other bath, so then I go into heat. Sometimes I do it a few times. So after race day, my physio had sent me like how many minutes to do in each, as long as you know, keep my fluids up. And so it really does work for me. I get to the end of a strength training session, or you know when you're going to have DOMs, I actually quite look forward to having an ice bath now. So it just I find it really works for me. Foam roll probably a good 45 minutes to an hour most days, with like foam roller, lacrosse ball. Yeah, I've been quite good with that, more than probably most would do, but I never used to do it, and it's made a huge difference. I definitely think that I can push myself harder in my sessions because of that. I probably would have maybe 4 or 5 months ago, oh, okay, I know I need to foam roll. Oh, but I want to train more. I would have probably opted for the training more and probably overtrained. I mean, I still train a lot a day, but I've realized that third or fourth session I don't actually need, and it's better that I recover, and then the next day I'm way more productive, and hitting the targets that I need to hit. So yeah, it's helped me massively.
Yeah, sure. Okay. We've mentioned your training with Paul. I should have specified, like, it's Paul Gillingham, who is our coach essentially, that works with our Rox Lyfe clients. How have you found that process, and also, like, how is it different to what maybe you were doing before? Like, presumably you were training yourself before.
Yeah, so I think when you've got a lot of clients, obviously they come first. Sometimes what you do comes last because you need to program everyone else's stuff, and obviously their priority, and so sometimes you're a little bit lapse. I think that I would push myself sometimes too hard, or expect too much of myself, and then sometimes with Paul, when we're reining things back or we're doing things for a reason and I'm working in certain zones, I think I always want to go 110 miles an hour, and sometimes I don't need to be doing that because I'm just going to burn out. So we've done a lot of how my kind of head thinks, and reprogrammed it a little bit for the better. So that's really worked as well. So every week we all have a chat about, you know, I've got obviously 2 small children, and you know, my commitments and things, so he always takes that into consideration when we're planning any injuries. I know that if I message him, he's going to message me back within so long. He's very good at that. Probably I'm very annoying with all my questions. I think he needs a medal for the amount of questions he has to answer. So yeah, it's been a really, really good process, and it's just shown me that sometimes reining back means that I can then push harder and get a better result, basically.
Yeah, yeah. I put out on the stories any questions for you, and people were people were particularly interested in your running training, because I think there were a few people that saw you in Barcelona and just like saw how good you were at the running. It was like quite clear to see, and you can see it in the data as well. Like, I know I've sent you your times comparing you against the other elites, and you stand out on the running, to be fair. So can you talk a bit about what your running training might look like across a week? Like, you know, volume,
So
slow, steady sessions.
Mondays normally is like double run day. We'll do sort of more of it'll either be steady heart rate or it'll be pace related, but sort of a slower run. Then later on in the day, I will hit my sprints and my intervals. So obviously, depending on where we are in our programming, you know, it's where I'm sort of hitting a lot faster paces for so long, and then slowing it down, and then hitting those paces again. Sometimes I will run on a Wednesday, but not all the time. Sometimes we just throw that in, and then I'll run later on in the week as well. So to probably 3 or 4 runs in a week. 1 to 2 of them definitely sort of more pacier, and then the rest slightly lower. But I've definitely found maybe doing the steady state heart rate or the slightly slower pace does really, really help. I train mainly on a assault runner, so I don't really touch a normal treadmill, and I do find that I find them tough. So then I think when I hit the floor on the event, it's kind of like, oh, okay. So I like the fact that the assault runner is quite tough on me. So I think that works in my favor. So yeah, my 5K times have like plummeted as well. I think I've knocked about 2 minutes off of them now, so I'm really happy with those. So
go on, tell us what they are.
I think the last one was 18:22. So nice. Yeah.
And where's your 10K at?
I haven't tested my 10K recently, so I need to. I think it was about last time I tested it, but I think that wasn't long after I was coming back from my leg, was about 41, 42. But yeah, so I to be honest, I would expect it to be under 40 now.
Mm-hmm. I recently went on one of them assault runners for the first time, actually. I say recently, probably 3 or 4 months ago, and it is hard, isn't it? It's like whereas a treadmill probably is easier than running on normal surface. Those assault runners are real. Like, it's I can appreciate that training on one of those would make it feel easier on the day, certainly.
Yeah, I did used to have a treadmill and an assault runner, but I just found that I was always just jumping onto the assault runner. I like the fact that I can speed up and slow down without having to control it.
Yeah.
So it is about me. So that's sometimes when Paul says to me, right, I want you to keep this pace, it does vary slightly, because when you're on that, it's not a set pace. You're just trying to pace it yourself. So it will vary very slightly, but I think it's done me the world of good. It makes me use sort of my hamstrings a little bit more, I think my calves, because you're kind of generating it rather than it spinning around for you. So I think that's definitely helped me with when I go out and run, and when I do a HYROX, almost when I'm running, that's when I'm recovering.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it feels to me. It's like when I do the functionals, that's the tough bit. I'm almost just in my head thinking, oh, just get me back on that track, which is quite a nice feeling.
Yeah. So the compromised running, like, nature of HYROX hasn't been a problem for you, really?
No, not too much. Weirdly, I seem to do my fastest run after my sled push. I think in both of the ones that I've done, I don't know if that's because I'm so angry at the sled that I just or
get
that
me away from it.
So heavy that I've just sort of sprinted off. And I know I need to catch up time because the sled slowed me down. I don't know.
All right. So you're a mum. You've got two kids, yeah?
Yeah, I have George, who is 6, and Annabelle, who's 5. So they're quite close in age. But yeah, they're amazing. They absolutely love mummy competing. They're two very different characters. So George says, "Mummy, I love you whether you win or lose," and my daughter goes, "If you don't win, you're going to ruin my day." Um, she's definitely a bit more like me. We got home from Barcelona, and my husband said, "Mummy's number 17 now in the elite ranking," and she's only 5, and she went, "Top 10 sounds so much better than 17 though." I can't win.
High demands.
But to be fair, she's right though.
True. How do you find time for like all the training, work, being a mum? Do you find it tough to manage?
Not really. I get up very early. And I don't mind that because I love what I do. And I think when you love your job and you love your training and all of that comes with it, I don't mind it when the alarm goes off at 4:15, or it doesn't bother me. I like to be busy. I like to have a really busy schedule. I think that sort of when I have days where I'm not training, they're the days that you feel more lethargic and less productive. When I'm training, I just feel like I've got so much energy. So my children are like, so my daughter really loves her ballet, and so we fit that in as well. My son likes his football, but more a little bit fair weather.
The family thing.
So yeah, we juggle all their sort of sports as well. But it's a team effort. So, you know, they're amazing at helping me. My husband's amazing at helping me and supporting me. And, you know, I come into work early and he looks after the children in the morning. And then granddad comes over and takes them to school. So yeah, we're all a sort of a big team, and then I try and do the school pickup, and then I might come back to work, but it works. So it's really good.
Cool. All right. We've talked about like your elite ranking a little bit. Presumably you hope to improve your time in London to creep into that, do you?
Paul and I have discussed this, and I'm quite new to it. I'm not going to be upset if when Manchester comes, if I'm not in Elite 15.
Mm-hmm.
That, you know, it's my first year, not even a whole year. It's my first, well, kind of 6 months, it will probably be, or less than that I've done pro. If I just go to Manchester and I'm competing outside of the Elite 15 in the World Champs, more than happy with that this year, and then see where I can go next year. If I do really well in London and I manage to creep in, then, you know, we'll go with it. But I'm in no rush this season to get there when I've got next season and things. So yeah, we're sort of planning it out, and we both had a chat and we both actually felt the same. James felt the same as well. Just, you know, take it in your stride and see where we can go. But it doesn't need to be in the next month.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's fair. Seems sensible.
Quite sensible for me, actually. What's happened to me?
How do you feel about the, like, I mean, I suppose you're relatively new to it, but how do you feel about the qualification process for that elite race? Do you feel it's fair, or?
So yeah, we were discussing this because obviously I am new, so I don't really have, I don't have an opinion, but I am becoming very aware that different tracks are very different. So I obviously went to Barcelona. I wanted to keep it completely quiet and just have a run through, just sort of get myself together before London, where everyone sort of knew that I was going to race, and I've got a lot of friends and family want to come and watch me. And Barcelona was a bit of an opportunity to try that out. And then Paul messaged me and said, "Oh, they've like released like how many laps, etc., and like the course." He's like, "Oh, it's a 2-lap race." Which is obviously you get the longer straights and things like that. I guess then maybe you get a bigger rock zone. I don't really know the workings of it 100%, if I'm honest. but obviously you do seem to get quicker tracks than others. So I think that there should possibly, it should be looked at whether it must be hard with venues, sort of like a bog standard, this is the exact distance of the track, this is the exact distance of this, or whether they have, you know, so many races which are just qualification races, and you're going head to head. But yeah, no, I got out to Barcelona and I was hoping for like not a quiet race, because there's always strong competitors, but when they released that start list like with Becky, Felicity, Jezebel, yeah, just to name a few, I just sort of, I looked down this list, like Sam, I just thought, wow, okay, I think Sabrina, just all these women that like have put in some seriously quick times. It was very, very, just my nerves just went through the roof. Becky was phenomenal. I think she got a world record in her age category, a personal, and took the British record. So like hats off to her. And it's just, you know, stood next to her and Felicity and everyone on the start line on my first race was just, yeah, quite intense. But they are all like really, really lovely. Becky spent some time with me, like we've chatted before, I've gone to Barcelona, and yeah, really welcoming. So as much as when you're on the track you're competing, they couldn't have been more supportive and welcoming to me, so that was really, really nice. And made the anticipation of the next one a little bit less of, even though you're going to be nervous, at least you know that the ladies are lovely.
Yeah, and you can hold your own in a group like that as well.
Yeah, and you know, that the time I did, probably in a lot of the other races I might have been winning a race. I think I'd rather come third in a field like that and know that I can hold my own a bit though.
Yeah, I noticed earlier actually that like Becky broke the 30 to 35 to 39 world record, and Jezebel broke the 40 to 44 world record, and Sam done the 45 to 49 world record. So that like whole three age groups there broke the world record in your race. On what I don't think, I mean, some people might say that means it's a quick course, but I'm not sure it was with those sleds in reality. So yeah.
Well, and I think maybe 5th, 6th, 7th, and 8th, maybe like, there was a bunch, and they were all, I think 2 of them got the same time, and they were all within about 10 seconds of each other or something. I think down until maybe like 8th or 9th place, it was still only 1 hour 11 or something. It was, and even that time probably would have won a lot of other races. So yeah, it was, when we went out on that first lap, I thought, right, okay, we're going fast. But yeah, I learned a lot. So I think I was so focused on like, it was Felicity and I just back and forth the whole way. Every time we sort of went into a function or out of a run, or we'd sort of switched over places again. And I think I was so focused in on that I didn't actually realize I'd been catching Jezebel. Because I think there was a point where she was a minute and a half ahead of me, and then it ended up, I think I clawed back about a minute in the last 10 minutes through my running. And I wasn't aware of that when I was on the wall balls. So I've just learned as well to not just be sort of, okay, right, you've got to look around and see what else is going on, because you don't realize. And Paul had said that to me. He said, you know, you might get overtaken on the sleds. He said, I reckon you'll probably be one of the first 3 into the sleds, which I was. And he said, you're not going to be one of the first 3 out of the sleds. And we knew that. But he said, but if you're just chipping away, every time you run, you're just chipping away, you might be surprised that you're going to have to graft the whole race, but you'll throw yourself back in the mix at the end, which he was absolutely right. And then I know for next time that just get my head down and get those runs in as well. My splits were really consistent, so I was really happy with that. Slightly annoyed on the last one because I wanted them to be all under 4. I think it was like 4:03, so I was like, oh, that's annoying. But
in terms of like the mental side of the sport, do you like like HYROX is pretty tough at times during the race. What do you think about? I ask a lot of guests this question. Everyone seems to have a different answer. I find it quite interesting. Where does your head go?
So I can almost, this sounds a bit weird, not black out. I can almost just, when I get to a certain point, I can almost just switch. There might even be parts of the race afterwards that I don't really remember. It's almost like I just take myself off. It's a bit peculiar. I think I've learnt, I think as a mum, I always thought that I would be teaching my children everything. And actually I've learnt a lot from my children, especially my son. He's absolutely fine, but like there's been times when he's had his fair share of stuff when he was younger, and just his bravery throughout everything, just it blew me and my husband away. It absolutely blew us away. We always say that my daughter is fearless, so you know, she'll jump off of a slide without thinking. She'll do all the daring stuff, and he probably won't do that. But I realize there's a big difference between being fearless and being brave. And he's really brave, and he's taught me a lot. So sometimes I think when I'm in that moment, I just kind of think of him a little bit. So, don't. He's just amazing. But yeah, they're very different characters, but I've learned a lot from them. So it's weird. You think you'll teach them stuff, but actually they teach you an awful lot too.
Yeah, absolutely. All right, great answer. Thank you. I've not done this before, but I thought we could have a quick fire round.
Oh no.
Where I just ask some questions and you give me some quick fire answers, and we can elaborate on some of them if you want, but we'll see where it goes. All right. First
is it
one.
about taste?
Sorry?
So is it about my music taste?
That's the first question. Best song to work out to?
Oh, I see. It's not very quick, is it? I'm thinking too much. I'm gonna go with Little Mix.
Oh dear.
Surprised you up.
All right.
I quite like Dua Lipa actually, but yeah.
Okay. Any particular song, in case people are wondering? I'm not wondering, but
most stuff actually.
Okay. Post-race food.
Chicken, rice. I told you, didn't I?
Okay. That would be, that's like your treat post-race.
That's what I had on. I went and had chicken and rice and veg.
Okay. Yeah. Burpees or wall balls?
Burpees.
Row or ski?
Row.
Sled pull, sled push?
Neither.
It's not an option, I'm afraid.
Pull. Yeah.
Okay. Racing in the UK or racing abroad?
UK.
Why's that?
Well, I do love that. Like, I do want to do more abroad, but I think definitely, regardless of what anyone says, travel does take it out of you a little bit. Even if it's a short flight and you're staying in a hotel. I'm staying in my bed and I've only got, I've got all my comforts around me, and I've only got a short travel into London or something. I think that's better prep than getting on a flight, being in a hotel. So yeah. Okay, but I do like it abroad. I just think physical side of things, it's better if it's closer to my home.
Yeah, sure. Any pre-race rituals?
No.
Or superstitions?
No.
Oh,
jelly worms sometimes. I eat a Marks and Spencer's jelly worm, just the one though.
Okay, I was going to say it's not all chicken and rice then.
No, just the one jelly worm occasionally.
Okay. Best experience so far in sport?
Either my Ironman or possibly Barcelona. I loved it. So yeah, I really loved it.
Where was the Ironman?
Lanzarote.
Cool.
Yeah, that was a silly decision.
Well, because it was so hot.
Yeah, really on that cycle.
Toughest thing you've ever done in sport?
Honestly, I probably would say maybe Saturday. I mean, on the way around, I said, I'm never doing this again, ever. Like, I'm like, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing it. I came off those sleds and, yeah, I think I got to the end, spoke to Becky. I said, no, I'm not doing it again. And about 10 minutes later, I was like, oh, I can't wait for the next one.
It's so strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. Yeah. I think it's just the buzz afterwards. It's just the adrenaline. It's addictive, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So.
Cardio or strength training?
Cardio.
Hit or steady state?
Hit.
Early morning or evening workout?
Morning.
Gym or outdoors?
Gym.
That's it. That's all I've got written down for those.
Okay, that was okay.
It was good. It was good. So London's up next, is it? And then Manchester.
Yep. So London. I think the first day, the ladies' pros are around 2ish. I think they said. So that's on the 30th of April. I'm doing a cheeky little relay the next day, and then Manchester. Yeah. So, I mean, it's not really much time between them. I think there's 5 weeks to London.
Yeah.
Something like that. Yeah, it can't be much more than that. And then after that, 3 weeks till Manchester. So, yeah.
Nice.
But it'll be good to kind of get like a whole season in, and you know, Paul and I are going to sit down and just like do a bit of planning as well for you know, what races I'm going to do and things like that. So that'll be exciting. Yeah. So it's just been a bit of a crazy year. I got sponsorship from Puma, which was amazing. That happened back end of last year, and they've just been phenomenal. So I just feel like I've been living in a bit of a bubble that you think that someone's going to wake you up in a minute. So yeah, it's good.
How did that come about out of interest, the Puma thing?
So it was after London, the Open one. My husband saw someone that he knew up there who works for Puma. Obviously Puma, Cobra do golf stuff as well. And they were messaging that week, and is your wife, did your wife win? And he was like, yeah, that's my wife. And then he basically just said that they would like to sponsor me. I didn't really think anything. He sort of said, oh, you know, I'm going to contact some people and blah, 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 blah. And I didn't really think much of it. And then it was just before Christmas. They emailed me and said, yep. And then January, I got sent an awful lot of stuff. And then this week they've sent me loads of stuff this week to say well done and things. So that's been really, really lovely too. They're really interested in what I'm doing, when my events are and things. So yeah, I'm very, very lucky and have way too many personal trainers now.
Excellent. You're like Paul, who keeps going along to PFTs to get to win a pair of trainers.
Oh, my daughter said, she said to me, oh, she said, Mummy, what tuner outfit are you going to wear today? You need to dress as a tuner. And I'm like, what is she talking about? I was like, do you mean Puma? And she went, oh, yeah. I was like, two totally different animals. But so cute.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you for this. Is there any, before we finish, any questions you wish I'd asked?
No, I don't think so. No, I was just a bit nervous.
Oh, you don't have to be nervous.
It wasn't as bad as race day though.
No. This has been great. I appreciate it. I know Paul loves working with you. Even if he does have to rein you in, I know he enjoys it. So well done for everything you've done so far. Look forward to seeing what else you can do. Thanks for joining us. Is there anywhere you want to send people? Follow you on Instagram, anything like that?
Oh yeah, I mean on Instagram or yeah, on Precision Golf, Kate. But yeah, if they want to follow me, they can. Okay. Probably not that interesting. I just train, eat chicken, sit in ice, and go to sleep. Really. But yeah, no, thank you for having me on, and yeah, and also thanks for all the data and stuff that you've sent me as well. So yeah, really helpful.
No problem. All right, thank you. All right, take care, everyone. See ya.
Oh, thank you. Bye.